to this workshop, which is themed Nigerian workers. So every year, organizations around the world celebrate Customer Service Week, and it's a time for us to appreciate our clients and thank them for choosing us. And for this year, 2025, we're here in the University of Lagos to celebrate that with you. We also, as part of Nupemco's initiatives to promote pension education, we organized a competition for all Nigerian students in the 6 geopolitical zones. And within this program, we're going to announce the winners of the essay. We would like to thank you for being here, and then also we would encourage that you please listen, engage, so that we would have a wonderful workshop. Thank you once again from all of us in Nupemco, and happy Customer Service Week. Please can we rise for the national anthem? Thank you very much. Please let's have a seat. I would like to invite a few people to the high table. The chairman of the ASU branch, University of Lagos, Professor Kehinde Idowu. Okay, he's unavailable for now. The pension desk officer of the University of Lagos, Mrs. Taiwo Bukola. Then the board chairman of Nupemco, Professor Issa Fegi. Please let's put our hands together. We also have the team lead for the assessors, for the people that assess the essay competition, Dr. Austin Sadu. While we wait for the others to come, we have our keynote speaker for the SCM, for the workshop, Professor Haliru. Mr. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. Sir, please. Okay, so we will have the board chairman of Nupemco's goodwill speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much. stakeholders of Nupemco, shareholders and subscribers, our keynote speaker, our distinguished professors of UniLag and environs, good morning. I'm very happy to be with you today to celebrate these two very important events, the Customer Engagement Week, as well as a prize-giving ceremony for those that emerged best in the essay competition organized by Nupemco. Nupemco, as we all know, is the only pension fund administrator whose subscribers are also the owners. All other PFAs, the subscribers are not the owners. And that is what makes Nupemco unique. But also is the only PFA that operates within the university system as a closed pension fund administrator. That is why I have the singular honor to represent you there as chairman of the board. Having also served in various capacities in the union. I actually rose through the rank from a floor member to a vice chairman, zonal coordinator, vice president, and president of ASU. So I have really made my bones in my fair language in ASU. And UniLag is like a home to me. When I was president, I'm almost always here, addressing one issue or the other. And I have so many friends in UniLag that we struggle together to make sure that our union continues to work stronger and stronger. But here today, the two issues that we are gathered here for, I insisted that I have to be here to witness at UniLag because the essay competition is the first outing for Nupemco. And I thought the chairman should be present physically to give some of the prizes that are won. Our students have done very well. We're talking about the essence of pension fund and the contributory pension scheme in Nigeria. Before I sit down, it's important to remind all of us that in 2006 to 2009 negotiations between ASU and federal government, the government team insisted that we must join the contributory pension scheme because it's a new policy of government. We insisted we are not going to join that because as researchers, we have carried out our research. We saw that the contributory pension scheme started in Chile, actually, and even in Chile, they didn't make it compulsory. It was optional. Only 5% of workers in Chile decided to join the contributory pension scheme, and subsequently, many of them decided to abandon the scheme. So but government team said we cannot be exempted from a national policy. So we are allowed to operate our own pension fund administrator. We will then accept to join the contributory pension scheme. And here we are, with Nupemco really moving from strength to strength. And we need your support to make this our own PFA gradually move to the viable position of becoming number one PFA in Nigeria. And that is why many of us that you asked to go and represent you on the board are working tirelessly to make sure that we meet up with that. Now, it's also important, as part of, although it's a goodwill message, but it's also important to inform you that the regulator PENCOM has now come up with requirement for recapitalization and is asking Nupemco to raise its paid-off share capital to 20 billion naira from 5 billion naira. It's a quantum leap, really. You're talking of 4 times the earlier capital base. And the union ASU, the promoter of Nupemco, as well as other unions, are working very hard to make sure that we meet up with those requirements. We really require your support in that direction. And like I said, you are free to also subscribe to Nupemco by buying more shares in Nupemco. And that gives you the right of ownership of the company, which is a rare opportunity that you have in a PFA. Most of the other PFAs, they will never give you that opportunity. So we thank you very much for honoring our invitation. We understand that for some it's a very short notice. We apologize for that. But we thank you very much for honoring our invitation, and together we can discuss and come up with strategies to make Nupemco the best pension fund administrator in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Right now, I'd like to invite my colleague, Sani Musa, to give us an update on the contributory pension scheme and also about Nupemco. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. The chair, other distinguished personalities here. My name is Sani Musa. I would like to run you through brief updates regarding the contributory pension scheme and the company you have subscribed to, the Nigerian University Pension Management Company. Now, the company commenced operation in 2019 with no clients on board, with no single asset under management. But as of today, Nupemco has registered over 40,000 clients within the university community. Nupemco, as of today, is managing over 250 billion assets belonging to over 40,000 clients of the Nigerian university. Part of its mandate is to bring pension services, excellent pension services, closer to the university community. Nupemco is operating physical offices, physical branches in the entire federal universities in Nigeria and state universities where the CPS operates. Nupemco has functional physical offices with staff that attend to the needs of the university employees. As I speak to you, Nupemco has acquired its corporate headquarters in Abuja last year, and the headquarters is fully accessible at the moment. Nupemco continue to strive for service excellence. We continue to ensure that our clients are well attended to. Even the issues that you are not aware of that might affect your entitlement, Nupemco uncovers those issues and then try to help you find seamless solution to those issues. Now, the industry currently has an asset under management in excess of 25 trillion. And then with registration of over 10 million employees. Now, an interesting update that we saw in the industry over the past few weeks is the Pension Revolution 2.0, which has brought a lot of updates in the industry. The key update there is the revision of the investment regulation, which saw an increase in asset allocation to infrastructure fund across the eligible funds. That also brought about introduction of agriculture investment fund. Now pension asset can be invested in agriculture fund. The revision also brought about foreign pension participation. Nigerians working abroad earning foreign currency can now have pension arrangements with the registered PFAs. Similarly, the revision came with the introduction of personal pension plan and also extension of the pension in the informal sector. Now, there are about 80 million working population. However, the contributory pension has only 10 million RSA holders, meaning that there are a lot of people in the working life that do not have a retirement savings account. That means they are not covered by the CPS. So the regulator is working tirelessly to ensure that coverage is has increased in the contributory pension scheme. Now, there was a minimum pension guarantee in the amended Act of 2014. However, we've not seen implementation. But with the recent news, there's going to be implementation of the minimum pension guarantee. What does that mean? There are employees that are earning very low, below a certain threshold, like let's say the minimum salary or minimum wage. Now there's going to be a minimum pension. Even if your pension is very low, we realize that certain categories of retirees earn very, very low. You see a retiree earning 10,000, 15,000, and then the reality is that that amount cannot really take the retiree to the gates, not even to say it is a take-home pension. Now, there's going to be a minimum pension guarantee. The implementation is going to start. And then the board chairman rightly said that the regulator has increased the capital base from 5 billion to 20 billion, and that's for Nupemco, which falls under the category of specialized pension fund administrator. So now there are two specialized pension fund administrators in Nigeria, Nupemco and the NPF. Their capital base is at 20 billion, and they are required to meet that requirement by December 2026. And then other PFAs have their capital base at 25 billion, and then they are also categorized into A and B. Those that have 500 billion, they have certain percentage added to that 25 billion. Then those with asset under management below that also have 25 billion plus the percentage on whatever they are managing. Now, clients have been struggling, have been finding it difficult to get themselves recaptured, the data recapture exercise. So the commission has tried to come up with self-service where contributors or RSA holders can now do data recapture themselves at the comfort of your home or office. You can do the data recapture yourself. Now, an interesting development that we saw recently in the industry is the introduction of free health care for vulnerable retirees. That is expected to commence in November 2025. So certain categories of retirees, for now, the Commission is coming up with a pilot plan. It's going to commence in November, in such that retirees can now have a free health care access. And then we believe that this development is going to extend to all categories of retirees. And to my mind, this is really a wonderful development. This is a good dividend of the contributory pension scheme. Now, another important update is accrued rights. We all know that in previous times, people do struggle with accessing retirement benefits due to the fact that their accrued right has not been paid into their retirement savings account. In most cases, maybe let me say years back, retirees would have to wait for months, some even years, for their accrued rights to be paid. Now, interestingly, accrued right has been cleared up till they've even paid October. Yes, they've paid up till October. So meaning that if you retire, if you are to retire in this month, you can access your benefit. And then the commission also in the customer service workshop on Monday, the commission declared that even the December accrued right would be paid hopefully before Christmas. So retirees do not have to now stress or have to wait for too long for them to access their retirement benefit. But most importantly, not the payment of the accrued right, the process of accessing the benefits also requires the retiree or prospective retiree to do certain things, the documentation, the pre-retirement verification, ensure that all your documents, all your records are properly captured, and then all necessary updates are done in the accounts. So these are the developments in the industry and updates from Nupemco. And we always urge the university community to speak to us, to come up with all the challenges that you have, and then we are committed to providing solutions to those challenges. What we boast of is, even if you are not registered with Nupemco, we can provide services. We can advise you on how to go about the problems that you have that are related to your pension. It might not be you, it might be somebody else, it might be the family of a deceased colleague who are struggling to access the benefits of the deceased. And then Nupemco is within your community. You can easily walk in and then seek for advice. Some processes, they are quite easy. The regulator has done a very good job, but then sometimes the awareness of how to go about certain things might be the challenge. But with Nupemco in the university community, we are always there. We are ready to provide assistance in easing these processes. So thank you very much. I would hand over the mic to
Thank you, Sani, for giving us the updates on what is happening in the industry. It's time for us to go into giving the gifts for the essay competition. While Sani was talking, the lead team for the assessors, Dr. Austin Sado, came in. So please, sir, you can join us. Let's give him a round of applause. Yes. So I would call on the head of customer care to just give a summary of the essay, and then before we go into giving out the gifts. And also, once the winners are online with us right now. They are not physically present, but they're online.
Thank you very much. Good morning, all protocols of that. Thank you, my chairman, the league convener. Thank you very much. So, it was quite a hurdle, but we are here today to present the gift to the winners, and these winners, they were selected from each region, and they will be on. They are currently online, I guess. So our chairman will be presenting the gift to them, and we will take it up from there. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so no, we have it, but you can just
The chairman, I guess, guest lecturer, or distinguished members of the clientele force, my dear brother who has been very hospitable, and the Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, Professor Laja, our comrade, former ZC. We want to thank all of you. I just want to spend a minute to explain how we arrived at the winners of this essay competition. Nationally, we know that Nigeria is divided into 6 regions. And for the sensitive nature of our nation, we agree that we're going to ensure that we will first have regional winners so that every region is represented. Then from the pool of the regional winners, we can do a second level of assessment to have the ranking for national. So there is nobody who assessed any candidate who has an inkling of who the person is, either by name or by any other nomenclature. So the names were removed, and every contact removed by Nupemco. We asked them to remove all that so that the assessment will be done blindly, and they were allocated to assessors across the region. Each article will be assessed by a pool of assessors from those regions, and an average of what they have scored will form the decision of who is the regional winner. So we had 6 coming from southeast, southwest, south, north central, northeast, and northwest. Those 6, after that initial grading, were now sent back to the pool of assessors across the region, so that all of those assessors at the regional level also assess those that they didn't assess at the earlier stage, for us to have the ranking that we forwarded to Nupemco. And I must say that going through that was quite tedious, but it was also enlightening, because it's some of the kind of insights you glean from reading the minds of people who think about what pension stands to do in the life of Nigerian worker was quite encouraging. So I want to thank Nupemco for the opportunity to participate in this and to be part of the assessors, and for the privilege also that people who have done this competition are going to get. And I believe that there should also be some form of reward to Nupemco when people get to see this. Maybe can have the entire articles compiled as a compendium, so that people can also, even if they didn't win, people can read those and see what they have said. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. So it's time for us to announce our winners now and present their gifts. As we said, they are online, so we would have to get people around to receive the gifts on their behalf. Chairman, sir, please, can you? So we have the 6th person. He's Mr. Israel Eze from the University of Ibadan. Please, let's give him a round of applause. Okay. Sir, please, can you come this way? Yes, sir. So our Nupemco staff are collecting it on their behalf, and then some members from the participants. So this is for Israel as the 6th position of Ibadan. The 5th person is Ita Mary Kate Ikor from the University of Calabar. Please, let's give her a round of applause. Kate Ita, Mary Kate, University of Calabar. The 4th position goes to Mohammed Sani Musa from Abdullahi Fodio University of Science and Technology, Alero, from the Northwest. Thank you. So Mohammed Sani Musa from Abdullahi Fodio University of Science and Technology, Alero. For the 3rd place, we have Amina Ali Bello from University of Maiduguri. That's from the Northeast region. Yes. 3rd. So Amina Ali Bello from University of Maiduguri, Northeast. Thank you. We'd like to call Mrs. Dora Ata to collect the gift on behalf of the 2nd person. So in 2nd position, we have Odo Chidebere Gertrude from University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Please, let's give her a round of applause. Odo Chidebere Gertrude, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. And for the 1st prize, can you forget? For the 1st prize, we have Tosen Samir Kasmir from University of Jos, North Central Region. We're calling on Mr. Afadolere Esse to receive it on his behalf. Ifadolere, sorry sir, Ifadolere. The 1st position is Tosen Samir Kasmir, University of Jos. No, there are actually 3 women and 3 men. It was uniform. So thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, sir. Congratulations to all the winners. As Dr. Sadu said, it was a tedious one. We had over 800 submissions, and we streamlined it to 340 people that actually followed the submission guidelines, and we got the top 6. So congratulations to everybody. Thank you very much. So it's time for us to listen from our keynote speaker on the topic for today, contributory pension scheme and its impact on the Nigerian workers. Let me just read a brief citation of Prof. Yes. Sorry, I actually forgot to mention, partnered with Huawei Nigeria, and they agreed to give mobile access points to the universities, the first three positions. That's University of Jos, um, University of, sorry, University of Nigeria Nsukka, and University of Maiduguri. So those three universities are going to receive mobile access points from Huawei Nigeria. Please, let's give them a round of applause. Professor Mukhtar Haliru is first and foremost an academic with 33 years of experience. He holds a PhD in management from Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, with a specialization in marketing. He is a professor of business management in the Department of Business Management, Bayero University, Kano, where he has spent virtually all his teaching and research career. In October 1991, he joined the Department of Management Science at Bayero University, Kano as a graduate assistant. In 2007, he was among the 6 scholars selected from the first and second generation universities in Nigeria for the Fulbright Visiting Researcher Scheme, sponsored by the U.S. State Department, where he secured placement at Western Illinois University, USA for 9 months. During this period, he taught principles of marketing and consumer behavior at both undergraduate and graduate levels. He was also involved in numerous research projects over there. Upon his return in 2008, he was appointed the program coordinator of the Master of Business Administration at Bayero University, Kano. In 2011, he served as head of Department of Business Administration up till 2014. He also served as the director of Bayero University Consultancy Services Limited from 2017 through 2021. He has served as a guest lecturer at several forums and does consulting work with numerous organizations. Please, let's put our hands together for Professor Haliru Mukhtar.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Professor Nasir Fagi, distinguished team lead for the assessors, distinguished professors, members of Nupemco staff, and owners, shareholders of Nupemco. A wonderful morning to you all. I have been asked to talk us through the history of pension administration in Nigeria, its importance or significance, its challenges, and obviously recommendations that will make it a lot better. Before I get started, I would just want to say something very quickly without sounding like I'm holding forth or pushing the brand of Nupemco. One major advantage is very simple, that at point of retirement, people have to run helter-skelter, have to try to go to head offices of pension fund administrators on a simple account that they don't have a foothold on campuses. Nupemco has that uniqueness, which means that when I was asked to come to Lagos, I had a lot of palpitation. Why? Because I'm not used to having to get up at 4 a.m. because I want to go somewhere. I find it very, very disturbing. My flight was for 7:30 from Kano. I left my home by 6:30, and by 6:45 I was at the airport. That sounds very crazy, but that's my reality. Now I'm being told that my flight is for 9:30 tomorrow, that I should leave at 6, and I was wondering why. Somebody said, no, you won't leave by 5:30. That's a lot of shock to me. So imagine that at retirement, I have to come to Lagos. That's a very strange terrain to me because I want to collect my gratuity, my pension. It's a struggle. So these are things that we have to deal with. And sadly, but true, we're doing these at advanced age, which makes it even more difficult for us. So that's an advantage that Nupemco has over other PFAs. Secondly, unions generally, and more specifically, ASU, there's a lot of thoroughness in processes. I just sat back and I listened that 800 people enrolled for the competition, and then based on eligibility and conformity criteria, they dropped well over 300 thereabout, and then the balance were subjected to blind assessment. And you can follow through the methodology and you will see that it's quite open, it's very thorough, and that means that that expertise, that disposition we brought to bear in managing assets of people because it has to do with trust. Lastly, since they're not paying me for that service to market them, I'll stop at the last one. Most PFAs, on authority I speak, you'll find out that the chairman, the board of directors will ride on extremely expensive vehicles. What that does is it hits profits naturally. And that means that the survival or performance is actually put in jeopardy. So excessive comfort is provided to those that are supposed to superintend in trust, and that's a huge burden. And eventually, it could compromise longevity or survival, if you will. At Nupemco, the story is entirely different. I was having a chat with my colleague, friend, chairman, and he told me where he was lodged. I'm just imagining, in a regular PFA, a chairman of the board cannot be put in that joke, I mean by use of language. But that's the reality, and that's why it's very fundamental that we actually give it a chance. Like I said, it's not part of my submission, I just veered off. Pardon me if I... the whole contributory pension scheme will probably make a lot more sense when we shut our eyes and take a walk through memory lane and see where we came from. So what's our reality as employees, as workers? In 1991, fresh from NYSC camp, under 23, I was hired as a staff by university, and I was very, very young. So I could wear my canvas, my jean. I could run up the stairway without having to breathe heavily. I was very slim, 6 packs, not like now, looking pregnant and all that. I didn't have any ailment at all, so I could have so much energy, and that applies to every other employee. 33 years down the road, I'm all bloated, I've got white hair, gray, I'm frail, I'm less energetic. I experience things I never did 35 years ago, back pain, leg pain, all sorts of things, which will get worse naturally. It's just a natural process. So the question now is that, does it make a lot of sense that after giving my life to a system, then at the time when I'm going, when you should say thank you, then I'll be faced with a whole lot of trouble because I can't take care of myself. I'll become a burden to people, and that is the challenge. And that's why the whole idea of pension becomes very, very necessary. So that at a time when I become very frail and weak, I don't want to be a welfare case. So I'll be able to have a system that takes care of me, that runs on some kind of autopilot system, if you will. Prior to the contributory pension scheme, I'll just keep referring to as CPS, as we all know, we had a defined benefit scheme, which was a scheme where upon retirement, you are paid lump sum of money. A lot of money, yes, but you have to struggle. You have to go back and forth before the monies are paid. But the difficulty was simple, that these monies are provided for annually in the budget by the government. And if you're familiar with budgeting, you know that budget does not translate to implementation. So what happens now is that when it is time to implement, government is struggling with funds for obvious reasons, because resources that come in are actually epileptic, as it were. So projections don't pan out. So what government does is to look at the line item that is most vulnerable, and that is pension. We will make arrangement, no problem. Let's do environment. We hit the account and then we use the money. So by the time it is time to collect the money, there's a struggle because the money is not actually there. So provisions are made annually, but in reality, there isn't any backing, as it were. So government takes the money, used for something else. When it's time for you and I to take the money, we cannot access the money. Even when provisions are made, there's a whole lot of recklessness in terms of management, misappropriation, and that also means that corruption is embedded into that particular scheme, and government realized that it was not actually sustainable, even though that when you collect the money, it seems like wholesome, lump sum, as it were, but it wasn't actually sustainable because of delays, because the funds are not there, and so on and so forth. And then it was largely the preserve of the public sector, which means if you're in the private sector, there wasn't much provision at that time. So government felt, okay, even where some private sector operators were involved, not all employees were actually covered. And then when the funds were actually collected, there were cases, of course, of mismanagement, because the person who collects the fund, that's...
I'm Mokhtar Haliru, a professor of business management from Bari University, Kano. Yeah, because this week is the customer service week for Nupemco, I was asked to share my thoughts with stakeholders regarding the significance of the contributory pension scheme, that is CPS, for the Nigerian worker. In doing so, we try to establish the fact that people join organizations, most times when they're pretty young, they put in 35, 40 years of their lives to become very old and vulnerable. And when they have to leave, it's quite a struggle for them to have something to fall back on. So the pension history in Nigeria was such that we had a defined benefit scheme where at the end of your retirement period, when you retire, you actually collect a gratuity and a pension. But the challenge with that was that it was actually a budgetary provision made by government. And of course, as you know, budget provisions and implementations are not entirely the same. So it was quite one of those vulnerable line items at the time. So government would sometimes use violence and take money meant for pension and all that. So it wasn't quite sustainable. So Obasanjo's government came and had a rethink and came up with the CPS, which was enacted in 2004 and reenacted in 2014. So as we speak today, it's 18% baseline, whereby 10% is paid by the employer, and 8% is paid by the employee. We said much as that has solved quite a lot of problems, but of course it still has quite some challenges. And those challenges will include things like cultural issues, where people are used to the informal system of thrift, that we refer to as Adashi in the north, and of course Esusu, I think, in Yoruba, which is driven by trust. So sometimes things can go wrong. So people are still very difficult to move away from that. That's one challenge. Second challenge is that sometimes PFAs, in an attempt to make a lot of return, could take some risks, even though PEMCON is a very serious regulator. But we've seen some of those anomalies in those systems. And of course, also the cost of running PFAs for some is quite high, even though PEMCON is on its toes to checkmate some of those unusual happenings, if you will. And of course, also you have these accrued pension rights for those that did not join the scheme initially. And when you have reviewing salaries, what happens sometimes that you have to pay the backlog, and that's why they struggle. So state governments also struggle with that. That's why it's working closely with state governments to take care of those problems. It's not a destination. So we say that we've moved from the DBS to CPS, and we're glad. But as you're aware, there will always be changes. So Penco is on its toes, trying to make sure that at every point, based on feedback from stakeholders, Penco has actually made amendments every now and then. So right now, there's the issue of the micro pension scheme to cover those are informal sector, which is not just those in the public private sector. And of course, also there is the issue of trying to provide better security systems so that it's not just about what I take every month. When I retire, to have access to some health insurance, probably free or heavily subsidized. I'll also advise them that you can also look at the challenge of commuting from one point to the other, where senior citizens, as they're called in other parts of the world, are entitled to some discounted or free transportation. So that takes pressure off the monthly pension that is actually collected. And we advise finally that there's a need for employers and employees to meet, the law provides for that, to be able to up the minimum from 18% and push it up so that you can have more accumulated funds that can actually be drawn when the need actually arises.
Well, for Nupemco, customers are always right, and we value our customers. And Nupemco is unique in the sense that our customers are also owners of the company. So we value our customers, and celebrating our customers in this week is very important to the company. We are organizing this to ensure that we give our customers opportunity to interact with management as well as board members so that they can ask questions and get clarifications from both management and the board members so that they can be able to understand how their company is operating and what we are doing to ensure that their funds are safeguarded, as well as making sure that when they retire, they will have cause to smile, not to cry. Thank you very much. Is that all?
Apart from the pension they are paying, is there any contribution? Okay, personally, I want to add in.
Yes.
I want to add in. Is there an opportunity for that?
You see, that is the uniqueness of Nupemco. Nupemco is meant for the university system, and all members of the university community are free to invest in the company. Not like in other PFAs, because other PFAs you don't have the opportunity to invest in the company and be a part owner of the company. But in Nupemco, apart from being a subscriber, when you reach the time of your retirement, you are a pensioner, you draw your pension. Apart from that opportunity, you also have a right to invest in the company and be an owner of the company.
My name is Austin Sado.
Your designation, sir?
I'm the vice president of ASU, but at this occasion, I'm the team lead for the assessors of the competition.
Okay. Nupemco, what can you say about them? How long have you been partnering with them, and what are the things that will motivate us to join them?
Well, Nupemco has been a struggle, and is a reality now that has actually improved the welfare of members who have joined the organization. So senior citizens who have retired are telling us very good stories about them and the operation, which is gladdening and encouraging because we have over the years struggled to ensure that we have something to show for the at time in old age. We understand how difficult it is for many people who are in some other pension administrators unable to access their benefits, but we haven't had such with Nupemco, which is why I gladly encourage our members and even people outside to have a rethink if they are not getting those benefits that Nupemco should be home to every retiree.
Okay, today, this week, being the customer week, so what are the take home for those that are not part of it?
Well, the take home is that usually everyone who is a client or a customer ought to be king. And from what Nupemco is doing, the cultural habit of having people providing services feel like the king has been demystified. The customers are now the king, and we see that happening with the customers of Nupemco gathered together, hearing lectures, being advised on what to do, and they are making better and informed decisions about their future. And so the customer is important. So things like this are very good and should be encouraged.
Thank you. Your name once again.
My name is Austin Sado.
There is an effort by the government to raise the sum of 750 billion to pay the entire backlog of accrued rights. So meaning that if you even have 5 years to retire from today, and you are entitled to accrued rights, that is, you have worked before the year 2004, your accrued right will be paid into your account. And to me, it's a plus because the accrued right will be invested for those years before you retire, giving you a more balance, increasing your balance in the retirement savings account. So, Prof, that was the situation, but right now that challenge has actually been found. And then the issue of inflation, I agree with you that it is not our fault entirely, but the inflation we saw, the exponential rise in prices of goods and services, were as a result of the reforms undertaken by the current administration, the subsidy removal, the devaluation, and other reforms that led to where we are. However, we have been seeing reversal in the inflation trend, coming from 34.8% towards the end of last year to 20.12% now. There has been improvement in that regard. Now, somebody asked a question on 25% equity access, right? What can you do? So we would like to clarify that there are about 4 players initially in access of this 25% equity. Number one, the PFA, in this case, Nupemco. Number two, the regulator. The third player is the primary mortgage institution. The fourth player is the estate developer. So at a point, the five, is it? Yeah, the central bank now, which is the fifth player. But recently, the regulator a kind of stepped aside to give us the right to approve the payment. Initially, we have to go to the regulator for approval. Then again, we saw a sanction of seven, right? Sanction of seven primary mortgage institutions by the regulator. They suspended their activities. And that has affected a lot of 25% equity application across the industry, not only in the bank. So if you have applied for 25% of your balance and then before the payment, that suspension came in, then we will now have to wait for the regulator's clarification whether they are going to update the suspension of those primary mortgage institution or not. Alternatively, you can then, there are those that are still allowed to process 25% application. You can now route your application through the eligible primary mortgage institution. The role of Nupemco or any other PFA is clear in the entire process. The PFA does not, no PFA can direct you to a PMI or estate developer. You choose a developer yourself, and then the developer sends the application to us. Once everything is completed, you provide the necessary documents, and the developer sends in all that is required. Your PFA, in this case, Nupemco, has, I think, 48 hours upon receipt of complete and accurate application. Nupemco will pay your 25% within 48 hours, and we've been doing that. So that's on 25% every. Now, the third question was that under the CPS, there has not been any increase in the amount of pension people have been receiving. I would want to clarify that there has been what is known as pension enhancement, and it has been happening regularly. So people have been receiving enhancements over what they have been receiving as monthly or quarterly pension. So that's a clarification. Now, on the issue of non-payment of pension, where you cited the case of somebody going to his PMA and the PMA was saying that there was no money in the account of certain amount were mismanaged, like you rightly noted. I would want to really clarify again here that no PFA in Nigeria can access your money. So the CPS structure operates in this way. There is a PFA, there is a PFC. The funds are in custody of the pension fund custodian. The pension fund administrator is just administering and managing the funds. So the funds are domiciled with a custodian. Right now, we have three custodian, licensed custodian. We have a UBA custodian, first custodian, and credit custodian. So the funds are lying with the custodians. Now, what to my mind must have happened with that particular person that you cited would have been a case of non-payment of accrued right as at the time the client wanted to access this for our benefit. So that is why we continue to see that awareness is very, very key. There must be a continuous awareness so that we all understand how these things operate and they will now clear out any misinformation and misunderstanding. So even if a particular PFA is living uh, living large, let me use that word. So they would be living large not on your retirement savings account balances. Perhaps they may be spending their profits because from the management of pension assets, the regulator approves certain fees. How do PFAs make profit? They make profit from admin fee and management fee of the funds they are managing. So they can spend, but they cannot spend what no PFA can spend what is in your retirement savings account. So if they are spending, spending from their profit and then whatever they are getting as income, and that will hit their profitability. So no alert since April. I will direct that to the PDO so that she can attend to that question. Then an important question raised by the last client is the age eligibility to access retirement benefits. Now, the 50 years, right, is not a retirement year, but eligibility age for access to your retirement savings account. What that means is that if you are no longer in employment, in active employment, for example, and you are up to 50 years of age, you can approach your PFA and then access or apply for your benefit. But if you are still working, collecting salary, then that means even if you are above 50, that means you are not a retiree, you are still working. So for the university community, retirement age, I think for the non-academic staff is 65 years, while those that are in the professorial cadre, in the academic, um, yes, in the academic category are up to 70. So what that means is that at 50, if you decide not to work again, right, you can access your pension. That's what it means basically. Now, you also asked to have clarity on withdrawal frequency, right? So upon retirement, you have various options to how you decide that your pension should be paid to you, the frequency of payment. You can decide to place on monthly pension. You can decide to say that I don't want monthly pension, I want quarterly. You can decide to say that I want it twice in a year. You can even decide to say that I want it just once in a year. That is just possible. Then again, uh, the issue of whether a alert is comprises of employer and employee contribution. So some institutions, when sending, they put employer and employee portion separately, right? So the easiest way to understand what you have contributed and what your employer has contributed is your retirement savings account. If you check through the statement, it will show you the portion contributed by your employer and then the portion contributed by yourself. You will see it. So currently the rate is the employer contributes 10% and then you contribute 8%. Even though I'm also of the opinion that if any reform should come up, that rate should be reviewed upward, especially the employer side of it. I don't know if that has satisfied your test for that. I'll hand over to you the question regarding an alert since April. Someone said that since April he has not received. We want to hear that response from you.
Okay, based on that question, on the alert, if you did not receive an alert, please write to the deputy registrar, HRM, so we help you confirm what's the problem through the bursary.
I think to my mind, the non-receipt of alerts across the entire Nigerian university at a point was as a result of migration from IPPIs to gateways. So there was this introduction of platforms for making pension remittances. So that migration resulted to some delays, but I believe that most of these universities that had these challenges have now been remitting those contributions. But I'm not sure of UniLag. So UniLag didn't have any issue in particular. So she's advising that you please write so that it will be investigated and sorted out. Thank you.
Sorry, sir. Please, if you have updated your number, maybe the number you have with the PDO is not used again. So you have to, you want to go update form. So with that update form, you now update your profile with us and what you're receiving there. Just confirm if the number that you updated with the PDO is still active. So if it is not updated with an active number. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we've come to. Okay.
You retired in September last year. Yeah, are you with Nupemco? Okay, that would be verified immediately and action will be taken on that immediately. Okay. Have you, were you part of the verification? Did you do verification? Verification. That's very key.
January last year. Okay, sir. So after
Okay. So I think this would clarify an issue here and will tell you, yes, please do have a seat. Yes. So his question now is that he retired last year, September, right?
September.
And you have not been paid. Yes. For treasury funded MBA, 6 months, right?
6 months before
6
retirement.
months before retirement.
You are meant to meet your PDO first, where they will do your enrollment exercise from their end before you approach the PFP, and then you carry out the enrollment. So the reason why is for people that start working before the contributory pension started, they need to pay your accrued rights from that time till 2004. So you are meant to do your enrollment before retirement. So you did it after retirement. That's why your contributions, the accrued rights didn't come at the time where people that retired in September received theirs.
Yeah.
So this is to say that they received your request and they are working on it. Yes, so it's just an acknowledgement of your request. So as my colleague said, we'll meet you afterwards, but the main reason is because the enrollment wasn't done at when due, it was done after your retirement, so that's why. So we still come down to awareness, awareness. So if there's anything we've picked up from this workshop is that we need to create more awareness on the contributory pension thing so that people would know what to do and at what time. So is there
Sorry, please, 25%. I really want Nupemco because I did my bit since April. I was asked to pay certain amount of money to the primary mortgage. I did that over close around a little less than 150,000. Process. So if I don't have information, regular information, you tell me what we are just hearing that. I send him reminder regularly. My phone is here to Nupemco. It cannot be less than 10 between 80 and now. So when somebody commits about 130,000 to process a form, and with an initial understanding that within a month you will get through between April and now. What are we talking about? So please, let us look into that as soon as possible. Number two, you talk of the possible free health, to retirees and there are many staff, existing staff, that are actually facing great health challenges. Don't you think you equally need to look into their own? Because when you look at this health insurance scheme, I think there was a time a doctor recommended calcium. And when I got to they said calcium was not part of and when I went out to buy, it was just 200 naira. That was not part of what government listed for me to benefit as insurance. You see, so all these are Nigerian factors, our problem, and we need to get out of all this. It is very easy to come to a workshop like this and begin to say all manners of things, but you discover that when you are affected, you have a different story to tell. Please look at that. In this seminar, workshop, there is no agenda. Hello? But I expect that when you are coming to a seminar like this, particularly a seminar revolving around, professors, academics, and you don't have an agenda to work through. I don't know. I don't understand. Then, finally, please, let us look at the case of education, because education is very important. Going around to, on a platform like somebody sending information on regular basis. If I type 1,000 or 130 plus down since April and no useful information to me, it's an add-on. Finally, this bond, this government approved it is shielded in secrecy. We don't know if you worked up to 2004, if you have worked 5 years to that, 10 years to that, 20 years, what exactly is your money
in government's hands that you are waiting for during your retirement? We don't know. Are we not supposed to know what we are expecting before 2004 when this scheme came into being? Then, on a regular basis, for you to know whether that money is stagnant somewhere or is, invested and it's these are issues that I think a PFA like Nupemco should actually be above, because we have professors, we have doctors, we have everybody in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's a question from one of the panelists. So you've raised quite a number of questions, and some of them concerns and kind of guidance. So the first one is on the 25% equity. We would like to apologize to you in particular and every other client who has had negative experience in the entire 25% equity application. The second apology is regarding the awareness on the suspension of some institutions in the 25% equity process. That was a regulatory action to actually protect and guide against malpractices discovered in some of these institutions. Malpractices ranging from overcharging and all that. Now, ideally, 25% is supposed to be used to finance mortgage access, 25% of whatever the value of the mortgage is. However, the Nigerians that we are, what was actually happening was the money was finding its way back to the pockets of the account holders. I don't have any authoritative statistics, but I know that over 90% of the people that have accessed retirement, the 25%, did not channel the money towards acquiring any mortgage facility, be it a house or a land or a renovation of any. So yes, it's their money, but the law was trying to kind of provide access to, yes, avoid the concern Prof raised that at the point of retirement, the money wasn't really enough for him to even build a house if he doesn't have any at that moment. So we apologize on that, and then we also like to inform you that we have on our website updates, periodic updates on this kind of issues, and I believe we also sent out messages when the suspension was announced by the regulator. If you didn't get that, we apologize sincerely. Then the free healthcare, let me please make a further clarification on the free healthcare to retirees. It was actually a presidential directive given a couple of weeks ago, and the regulator had immediately acted on it. The regulator, which is the National Pension Commission, stated in the customer service workshop currently going on that it intends to commence the free healthcare, like a pilot commencement in the month of November. So what the president said was that the PENCOM should come up with a free healthcare for vulnerable retirees. Now, the definition of vulnerable retirees here is kind of vague. So the commission would have to sit and conceptualize what vulnerable retirees means. Is it in terms of what they are collecting on monthly pension? They could say that, for example, whoever is receiving less than 40,000 or less than a certain amount is going to be covered under the free health care, free health insurance care. So that is it. So we are ready as Nupemco. We are ready to partner with the government. We are ready to partner with the Commission to ensure that dividends as such are provided. And then for us as Nupemco, we would make sure that whoever is covered gets to access the particular um, benefits that is meant to come to the person. So it's going to be funded by the regulator, government, and PFE. So they are going to come up with a guideline on this free healthcare as announced. Another apology, we won't get tired of apologizing because these concerns you have raised, the corrections, that's why we are here to make things better. So we will accept it, we take it, and then the only room that is never full is room for improvement. So we would improve in our subsequent organization. Then in terms of education and awareness, we strongly believe that before Nupemco came on board, pension awareness in the university was close to zero. There was nothing like awareness. The coming of Nupemco on board had significantly increased pension awareness in the university community, not only through the workshops being organized by Nupemco, but Nupemco has created a kind of competition in the university community. So because other PFAs too want to retain their clients, they now periodically organize workshops. You see them coming around because they don't want to lose. So that is another benefit that the Nupemco has given to you in this guide, so to say. So we will continue to provide education and awareness. Our platforms, our social media platforms as well, there we are going to make it richer in terms of pension education and awareness. Then you asked a very vital question that how do you know what you have contributed? How do you know what's meant to come to you as the accrued that government have all the record that have worked before the year 2004, and they have a formula for whatever your entitlement is meant to be. DB scheme takes into consideration certain things, not exactly what the CPS does. So in CPS, for those that are under consolidated salary structure like the university, it takes the entire 10%, but for those that are not having a consolidated salary structure, it's considered 10% of transport basic and housing salary, housing allowance as what will be deducted for your pension contribution. But for the consolidated, it's the gross amount that will be charged. So that is it. But most importantly, ensure that your records are accurately updated. Yes, through the pension desk officer. There's a very important document called nominal roll. Once your information are accurately updated on that nominal roll, there are few challenges you may face. I believe that would help. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stanley. Once again, thank you to all our panelists and to our audience. You've all been wonderful. Thank you, ourselves. Thank you for taking our time to be with us today. And then, as you know, our office is in the university here, and our staff are always here to help you with whatever you need. And of course, you can always reach out to us in the head office too for all your issues. So thank you very much for being here today. On behalf of the PEMCO, I say thank you and happy customer service. Let's have a nice day.